Hello, my name is Guichard, artist, curator, collector, co-owner of the Building Community Foundation, and co-owner of Gallery Guichard.
And I'm Frances Guichard, artist, collector, curator, and co-owner of Gallery Guichard and Building Community Foundation.
Welcome back to Gallery Guichard virtually, and welcome to Virtual Exhibition Catalog number 40, a milestone virtual exhibit catalog we've been doing since COVID, and this marks 40 virtual exhibition catalogs where we have the opportunity to connect with artists in a way that's personal, and Mychael Shane is no exception with the scratchboard.
Yes, the work is amazing. It is stupendous. And I have to say, just even looking at how he scratches the board to create the image and give you the texture or the feel of muscles and feathers, and using the different mediums that he uses in it, like bullets and chains, you'll love it.
Mychael Shane is one of many artists that we met during the Bombay Sapphire Artisan Series program, which was a 10-year run where Frances and I acted as international curators for a nationwide juried art contest that went into 15 cities and ended at Art Basel every year. Mychael Shane was our Detroit winner in 2016, and his winning piece was a social justice piece about the water in Flint, Michigan. It's really exciting to see the evolution of his work and reconnecting with Mychael so that we can create a platform for collectors to learn more about scratchboard, but more importantly, touching the surface or scratching the surface on a lot of important social justice issues.
Scratching the surface, exploring how the undeniably complicated and tragic can reside right below the surface of the things that are often breathtakingly beautiful. Mychael Shane.
Sit back and relax as we go inside of Mychael's studio as he talks more about the inspiration around the technique of scratchboard, but even more about how scratching the surface goes deeper and pulls the onion back as it relates to the layering of social justice issues that we're dealing with society today.
I can't wait to talk with Mychael to hear more about his technique, but more importantly, more about the subject matter and why he created the body of work he did.
Welcome back to Gallery Guichard virtually. I'm Guichard, artist, curator.
And I'm Frances Guichard, artist, curator, collector, co-owner of Gallery Guichard.
So we are excited about this moment where we are able to reunite with amazing artists from Detroit, Michigan. We have not connected with in 8 years, 2016. Yeah, I can't believe it.
Great to see you.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, awesome for you guys. I don't know how you're getting younger, but keep it up.
Thank you.
Ditto. It doesn't crank, but I'm gonna tell you, this meeting wasn't happen chance, and this reuniting has been very exhilarating for us because I was in love with your winning piece at the Bombay Sapphire Artisan Theory Detroit Regional Semifinalist exhibit, and I know that was at Nnamdi Gallery, if I'm not mistaken, and Frances was the international curator and host of that exhibit in that ceremony. So maybe you might kind of take us back to the past before we start going into the future.
It was that was a great time where we were at the Nnamdi Gallery and your art was on display, and you were up against some fierce competition. I have to say, there was some really great art coming out of Detroit, but you won, and it was awesome. Your work was amazing, and it still is.
And I'll say, there were different exhibits, or of course semifinalists, where I couldn't attend, but we would both vote. And that was one of the times where I said before the opening, you know how, like, I know this artist is gonna win. And I had that feel about that piece, of course. So
Really?
I did. That was just a premonition. When she said what it was, I was like, oh yeah, that was what I would have thought. So kudos.
Yeah, it just technique, just skillful, artful. It's just amazing.
So speaking of Mychael, let's start off with that. How did you get into scratchboard? And tell us a little bit, Journey, which of course is the title of your solo exhibit, which opens this Friday, Scratching the Surface. And it's Friday, July 19th, 6 to 9 p.m. This is our 40th virtual exhibition catalog, which will also be documented in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So how did you start, and why did you choose that fine art medium over all the others that you could have chosen?
Wow, that's interesting. It's one of those things I was introduced to, resisted, and then later found again on my own. As a teenager, people will tell you to try things, and you're like, nah, I don't want to do that. But as you get older, you come back to it. What happened was I was in art school, and when I was in art school, grew up, I was a graffiti artist. I was tagging everything. I wore big, bold, bright colors. It was the 90s, right? Everything is big, bold, and bright. I did watercolors. I did oil paintings. I did everything. It had color, and then I found watercolors, and it was so loose and fluid that was it. That was my medium, right? And when I was in art school, I had an art teacher, a professor named Paul Behrens, and that man pushed me. But after I graduated, he told me why, being a black man in the art world, the hurdles I'm going to have to get over. So he really pushed me. So he pushed me in one particular project because he knew I did colors. I like to do abstracts and all these wild things. He was like, I want you to try this technique, scratchboard. I'm like, man, what is this? What is this scratchboard thing? Oh, you just want me to draw a black and white picture? Not a problem. It was a 3-week project. The first week, I knocked it out in the first week, handed it in, failed.
Wow.
So I had 2 weeks left, did another one. It was a little bulldog. Did it again, turned it in, failed.
Wow.
This man is trying to kill me. So ended up doing it again quickly, but sat down, really concentrated, focused, and paid attention. And it broke my brain, right? Because I was used to creating form and shape by putting darks down, by putting shadows down. That's how you create form and structure. This was almost like sculpting. You take away what you don't. And my brain could not flip that switch at the time. So I eventually finished the project, turned it in, and said, you know what? I never want to touch this stuff again. Give me my airbrush. I'm gonna go back to the mall with airbrush jeans and overalls. Don't give me that scratchboard stuff. But later on in life, we kind of all hit that point where everything's going crazy in life, and you need to find that one thing that is uniquely you. So I got back to doing my art again. It was like, okay, let me do my watercolors. I didn't fill it like I used to. Let me try doing airbrush. Did not fill it like I used to. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, get back into doing my art, I need to find something that's going to challenge me. And my wife, who I was dating when I was at art school, went and found that little bulldog in the closet, pulled it out, and said, this is my favorite piece you've ever done. Do more of those. I said, no, I'm not doing any more of those. You know how it is when you push back in a conversation with your I ended up doing more scratchboard. So with that, I was like, okay, let me sit down and really think about this. Let me really concentrate and focus on this. What can be done with this medium? So really dove in head first, learned about it, had conversations with people who were part of the International Scratchboard Society, all the scratchboard artists from around the world. I wanted to see what could be done. And there weren't a lot of people doing figurative art with scratchboard. There were just a few. It's mainly done for wildlife and nature because the texture and detail you can get with fur and scales and feathers. There aren't a lot of figurative artists doing it. And then I don't know any other African-American artists doing it full time. I found a couple who have dabbled. Yeah, I found a couple who have dabbled after we've had conversations, but they kind of walk away from it and go back to their natural medium. But what I found challenging when I was younger became therapeutic as I was older. That forced focus, drowning out all the noise. And it's an unforgiving medium. You mess up, you can't paint over. You're creating without a net. I mean, it's an etching. You mess up on anything bigger than a quarter, you're starting over again. So months of work gone if you mess up. So that forced focus became very therapeutic for me at the time, who was kind of living a crazy life. So it kind of became my thing. It became my go-to, became my resort away from it. And I just kept pushing. And now you're starting to see here in this show, starting to integrate and do more things with it. 3D pieces, embellishments. So it's fun. It's my go-to. It's my therapy.
Oh, this is awesome. I have to say, your therapy, but it's also my therapy, and every person looking at your work, it's amazing, and it really does have a in-depth conversation. Tell us a little bit about the conversation, and what's happening with each of the pieces that you can help us to really delve into your ideas and your thoughts.
Okay. The idea, the show is scratching the surface, right? And to me, I think that's a reflection of life. And Scratchboard is also a part, is symbolic of life. Scratchboard is just taking everything that you got, every tool at your disposal, try to make little white lines against the darkness, right? Putting down a little light against the darkness. And over time, those add up to a bigger picture, hopefully a beautiful picture. And to me, that's what Scratchboard and life are. And with this collection, what I wanted to do is show that a beautiful picture, somewhere in the story of that beautiful picture, there's probably a little bit of tragedy. And we know this, just, being adults who live life, every tragedy probably started out with a beautiful thought. Every beautiful thing probably has some tragedy. So I wanted to do art that wasn't just a pretty picture. I wanted to start conversations. I wanted to initially grab you and like, oh, that's a beautiful piece. That's an angel. That's this, that's that. But as you look closer, say, oh, that angel, those angels' wings are made out of domestic violence papers, restraining orders, or those are made out of bullets. That's police caution. So it's a beautiful picture initially, viscerally when you first look at it, but as you think about it, you see a little deepness behind it, and those conversations can start to be had.
I love
that. That's scratching the surface. I'm sorry, I'm saying that's scratching the surface. Almost every piece is like that. I want you to see it and then really get into it, to see a little bit more of the DNA behind it.
Love that.
And I'll just kind of coattail on the history that we met you as a social justice artist, which it's an easy term that, people put it on, but, as you talk about scratching the surface, you're just scratching the surface of the social injustices that are happening.
Yeah.
For the frame of the water that you did 8 years ago, or that image, when you look at the sculpture now, it is amazing how you have taken your creativity to encompass light fixtures, but now you're still, what you scratched the surface on 8 years ago is still going on. All these beautiful people are ingesting that polluted water, and that's all I see is beauty with poison pouring over it. So it hits you like Mike Tyson punch. So kudos.
Yeah, thank you. It does. That piece is adorned, the sculpture, and that was the last piece I did to have a conversation on the Flint water crisis. There's a series of them, starting out with the wrung out piece that we did for Art Basel, and then finished with Adorn. And the thing about Adorn, there was supposed to be a male and a female piece. I wanted to use it as a reference. I wanted to use a model from Flint, male and a female. So the model for that particular piece is a working female model from Flint, full-time nurse, full-time model. And the faucet, it's even though it's particularly about Flint, it speaks to us as a culture, right? We have to get up every day and look our best, do our best, pretend that nothing is going on, even though tragedy is pouring down around us in some shape or fashion. In that particular piece, her being a model, she's modeling different pieces of jewelry. The jewelry on that piece is actually made out of retrieved water bottles from the military. The National Guard, who were retrieving bottles of water. So there wasn't a big PR issue showing all the bottles of plastic in the city of Flint as people live their lives out of these bottles. But we were able to get our hands on some of those bottles from the National Guard, and I've repurposed them for some of these art pieces. So all her jewelry are made out of recovered Flint water bottles.
Wow.
So and another note with that, there was supposed to be a male version of that. But the day of, the gentleman I was working with decided, you know what, do you have any other concepts you want me to do? I can't do anything. It was still too hard. It was still too emotional. And that hit me. That was strong. And I want to give him his space, allowed him his space, and we worked on some other pieces. But that always stood out to me, that there were still some people, even now, who is still too personal to them. They don't want to go there because of how hard that life is and was during the Flint crisis.
Understand, yes. Tell us about In the Wings, the In the Wings series.
In the Wings series is, again, it's about beauty intertwined with a little bit of tragedy. These beautiful portraits of beautiful Black men and women as angels, right? Some stoic, some gentle, some looking off in wonder, some looking directly at us. These different stages. And so first blush, you look and think, okay, it's a very angelic piece. It's very light, very, nice. But as you look, those wings are made out of, those different wings, depending on the piece, are made out of different things. Some are bullets. And that's speaking to, the gun crisis in our community. Whether it's, amongst ourselves, or if it's being done towards us from outside factors. Police shootings, there's a lot that's been happening. During the course of making those, there's a lot of things you can tell that I had to say something. I'm not the most vocal person, but I will communicate through the visuals, and that's something that, again, I want to thank you guys for helping me find that pocket. And those pieces in particular come from that, because some of the pieces the wings are made out of bullets, and it speaks to the gun crisis, the epidemic in this country. But then you have some that are made out of actual restraining orders. And that speaks to domestic abuse, that almost every family that I know of has been affected by this. And then I'm also a history buff, right? I like to find those lines that go from the past to the present to see where they're going in the future. And there's another particular piece where the wings are made out of old shackles. And the thinking behind that, the conversation behind that is, even at your most peaceful, even when you're at your most calm, there is a bit of tragedy that's happened that's affecting you that you may not even be aware of. I mean, the study of science now, epigenetics, things that happen to our grandparents physically affect us. And the things that are handed down to us that we don't even realize. So tragedy from the past can affect what's happening here in the future, in the present.
Wow.
So, there's a range of dialogues we had in the wings.
In all of PTSD, that's deep. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, don't study long, because you will study wrong with this exhibit. This is one of my favorite exhibitions, and I can say that comfortably in 19 years here in Bronzeville, and the consistency, but just the use of medium and the uniqueness of the medium is just phenomenal. So we're excited that even before the show opens, we've got our first sale title in
the Wings.
In the Wings.
With the one shot.
So we're going to pray for abundance and that this continues to be to the home.
So they're awesome, stupendous. I mean,
Thanks.
I'm just so excited, and I just like spending time looking at each one, looking at the strokes and how you etched it out, and how you created feathers, or you created the one with the strawberry and the chain. Just hear you talk here at the gallery too.
And if you want to purchase this work, it is available, and that's the beauty of the virtual exhibit catalog. And this exhibition, Scratching the Surface Virtual Exhibit Catalog number 40, can be accessed. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Click on the virtual exhibit link on the Gallery Guichard page, and it will bring you into the exhibit. And this same exhibit, you can continue to wander by touching the circles, and it will actually allow you to move around, and then the matter tag below each piece will give you the title, medium, artist, and price. So this exhibit will remain in perpetuity.
And you can find it on our website at www.galleryguichard.com, and you can contact us through the website should you see something you like.
Mychael, the reunion is just beginning, and man, you are coming in here with a bang. Look at Motor City.
I would have done this solo show without anybody else. I'm so glad people, universe brought us back together for this.
Awesome.
And it's just the beginning. So look out, world. You've been blessed with amazing talent.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the opening, Mychael. Thank you
See you
again.
soon. Can't wait to see you and your wife.
Welcome back. What an amazing conversation, and what a great reconnecting, because what I loved about his work initially with the winning piece, this exhibit has opened my eyes to an incredible talent living right in Detroit, Michigan, and part of our fine art community, and one of our new gallery artists. So it is exciting.
Yeah, I love to hear her. I love the story about how he connected with his professor and what gave him the drive and the impetus to continue to do a medium that very few African Americans are doing.
And I've been thinking what he talked about, which is the gun crisis, and how the gun crisis has replaced the war on drugs, and how now it's the leading contributor to young African Americans incarcerated today. So this work is not only superbly executed in a unique medium, but it kind of gives you a sucker punch because it pulls you in, and then the next thing, you are deep involved in a conversation that deals with current issues today.
If you haven't seen it, you need to go and check it out at www.galleryguichard.com.
See art, love art, buy art, live with original art. See you next time, and thank you for enjoying Virtual Exhibit Catalog number 40.